Thank you, Bruno. Okay, well, formal class. Thank you for your time. And then, as always, gratitude for the knowledge and the practice of the art. Wow, yeah. We've been doing this for quite a while. This class is doing very well. The fact that we're deep into the third set, I think, in this class, I believe, is quite impressive. We should hopefully get to the end of it in another month. So if you can get there, there's something I always want to share with people at that point. So it's an exciting goal. Let's think of it that way. So left foot forward, hands here, forward and back. Breathing in and breathing out. In and breathing out. So connecting with the breath, but also the weight, all the weight on one foot, all the weight on the other. Now, right now, I'm not turning my body at all. I'm just going forward and back and trying to keep my head upright, looking forward, the back of my head pushing up, my back straight, and the front of my body to the front. Now, think about the shoulders like a wave, coming back and coming forward with that movement. See how much space there is between the front of the stance and the back of the stance. Really become aware of the details of it, the little millimeters of every movement. And as we do that, let your hands come out and start to move forward and back with the shoulders. So the elbows and the shoulders are connecting now and allowing themselves to be pushed and pulled like a wave in the ocean. A calm wave, of course. Now, take the dynamic of the elbow and pull back and push forward with the elbow. You're not thinking about the forearm, just the elbow. And from here, we will start to think about the forearm and the hand. We're going to go forward, and as we come back, turn the palms up. And as we go forward, push the palms forward. But now it's only being built upon by the foundation of the rest of the body. So you have to be connected to your feet, to your breathing, your hips, your shoulders, your elbows, all of it is one continuous movement. As we do this, bring your mind, your focus to the center of your palms, fingers out slightly. Now, think about the idea that your hand, the palm of your hand holds a lot of muscles that control the fingers. And you're going to flex the muscles of the palm. So the muscles in here, contract them. Fingers are secondary. Don't try to think about your fingers, think about your palm. Contract it a little bit. And connect that with breathing out and squeezing your stomach. And now, as long as your palm is the main focus of the flexation of the muscles, clench your fingers a little bit like the beginning of the form, tiger claws. And then relax as you come back. Go to the forward position, push, squeeze the hand, squeeze the stomach, push all the air out. Switch feet. Hands down, and just forward and back. Back to just feeling the transfer of the weight from one foot to the other. And the dynamic of that idea. Now, hands start to move, sway in and out with the body, because the shoulders and the elbows are like seaweed in the tide, back and forth. The hands start to move a little bit more, so the movement is more throughout the whole body, but it's staying connected. The continuity is from the feet to the hands. Now extend your palms up, bring your hands back, and push. Just gradually ease into the focus onto the hands, so that the main thing is to keep the whole body moving correctly. As we start to focus more on the hands, because we're relying on the rest of the body to be moving quickly, one of the big elements too is the bending of the wrists. They're not here, they're very bent, very extended. So that you're pushing with the bottom of your hand if you were pushing something. And that bottom of the hand becomes the basis for the contraction of the muscles of the palm. It all kind of connects. So now the movement is maximized. Come back to that focus at the center of the palm. The muscles here are contracted slightly. Now, squeeze the fingers and the hands, tiger palm. The fingers, the hand, and the stomach, I should say. So you're squeezing from here too. Push, squeeze all the air out, and then feet together. Cleansing breath, breathe in. Breathe out. Down, around the toes and up. Push and open. Okay. I want to just do a couple more quick Qigongs to warm up. This one is to the idea of bringing your focus to the front. Okay, so we're going to stand natural stance here. And I'm going to think about taking a big step forward with my left foot and reaching and doing a punch, vertical punch, and then just coming back, you see? So if I go this way, it just looks like this. Right? So we have that in the form, of course, 1, 2, 3, that punch. So left hand, 1, back, right hand, right foot. So the hands are just swinging back and forth. And each time when you punch, you're flexing these muscles and drawing the blood and the chi, in that sense, out to the hand. Okay? So just a few of them helps get the heart rate up, and it's good for your technique anyway. The other thing is to keep your eyes forward. Don't look down at all. Look as if you're looking across a vast expanse on the top of a mountain. Okay? Ready? Go. 1, 2. 10 more faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So that's a good exercise for your Tai Chi. Here. Now, to the side, step out, feet out, and change gears completely. We went from a very intense exercise to intense Qigong, we're going to go very soft. That's here. Now, my right hand's going to come up, rotate to the front, reach out, and pull back in to where it starts. Okay, so 5 times on the right arm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Two. Relax the hand completely. Relax the body completely. 3. 4. 5. Other hand, 5 times. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. And then one more time. Feet together. Cleansing breath. Breathe in. And out. And up. And open. And shake it out. Okay. Let's do a stretch. Put your feet out. Hands up. Sink down. So we're keeping our back straight, our eyes forward, our hands are up to here, and we're making sure that the lower back has got the pelvic tilt so that it's straight here. And we're thinking about how the elbows should sort of sit on top of the legs just above the knees here in terms of alignment. Okay? And I'm going to reach up, extend, and sink my palms to the outside. I'm going to reach out and lean forward, bring my hands to the front, and then let my hands fall and push my hips down and my knees out. And then I'm going to reach up, putting my elbows at the height of my ears, extending my spine, looking at the ground, so my top of my head goes forward. And then I'm going to roll over to the elbow, look up at the ceiling. Reach out again to the front, extend the spine. Reach over to the other side, look up at the ceiling. Reach back to the front, extend, up, straighten the back, hands up, and then out. And then swing the hands to the left, turn to the left. Push into the stretch. Now remember to bring your right heel around so you're pushing it out and your weight goes to the side. Throw your arms behind you. Bring your head forward. Throw your arms in front again. Bring your heel up in the back. Rider stretch. And then bring your right foot down. Bring your weight across and sink down onto your right foot. Bring your hands to the floor. Straighten your back. And turn to the right, then stretch. Push into the stretch, push the back foot around, the left heel out, the weight forward. Throw the hands behind you, bring your head forward. Bring your hands up, your heel up, sink down. Step back, sink down, Tai Chi stretch. The hands down on the floor, work your feet in. Straighten the back of your legs. Breathe in. And breathe out. Circle your hips. And the other way. Good. All right. Check it out. Hands in and out. Sort of like giving yourself a hug, kind of, but making sure that when you come back, you're opening and letting the chest, the rib cage open. Just lightly, just gently, whatever you feel comfortable with, but expansion and contraction. 2 more, 2 more. 1, 2, and now circle the arms. Backwards. Bigger, bigger, bigger. Full circles. Smaller, 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 extension, forward. Small circles, getting bigger and bigger, bigger, full sized. Smaller, 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 and drop. Breathe in, and free fall. 1, 2, 3. Look forward and then look up. Reach up. Think about putting your mind into your index fingers and pushing through the index finger like a laser as high as you can, through the ceiling, into the sky, into the atmosphere, into space. Push, push, push. Then bring your weight to the front of your feet, tippy toes, high as you can. Extend and extend. Extend even more. Bring your heels down. Grab your left hand with the pinky finger side up. Remember, you twist from your feet first, and then your hips, and then your shoulders, and then your hand. Back to the front. Switch hands. And again, from the bottom up, feet, hips, shoulders, then hands. Back to the front. Reach up again. But when we go on our tippy toes this time, we're going to turn our palms to the outside. Okay? So reach up, tippy toes, palms to the outside. Now push your thumbs up. Push your mind through your thumbs. Then bring your heels down. Bring your left hand above your head like this with the thumb to the front. Grab with the right hand. Turn and pull the arm across the top of the head to the back corner. And then go back to the center, switch hands. Pull the other hand around to the back corner. And back to the center, grab the elbow this time and pull with the elbow. And then the other way, pull the other elbow. And then drop the arms. Down. Roll the shoulders. Shake it out how you like. And hand up and pull back. Remember that these are techniques as well as stretches. So part of learning the technique in this way is to make sure the stretch you feel here is felt here and here. 3 joints feel the stretch. And you know that by the shoulder wanting to lock. That's when you know you got it. Back, relax the hand, rotate, and then maximize again. And again, feel all 3 joints involved here. Bring your hand in. Same thing, all 3 joints of the arm, twist at the wrist until the shoulder wants to come forward. That's when you know you got the maximum position. We're gonna bring our fingers to the front. In this position, the fingers are just straightforward. Now, this one's a little trickier to some degree to get the connection, but it's still 3 joints connected in movement in the position. So sometimes you don't feel the shoulder right away, but you should feel the elbow. You should feel the idea the elbow can't go further back. It's pushed. And then relax, fingers to the outside, and then same thing, just slightly different angle. Give it a shake. And then left hand, pull back. So again, all the same thing. Think about the whole arm. In, relax, push. In, twist. Feel the pull through the shoulder. And then fingers forward, press down. Relax, outside, press down. Give it a shake. And then as always, head side to side. Roll the chin, roll the chin, roll the chin, roll the chin. Forward and look up. And look down. And go around. 1, 2, 3. The other way. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You know, one of the things that keeps me a little confused about where this class is at is I have another class I do online, and there's 3 or 4 people in that class that are basically at the same place you guys are at. And I always confuse myself which week exactly who's where, because you're basically doing this at the same pace. It's funny how that works sometimes. Anyway, we did the 3rd set, right? That's part of it. We're into it, and we're into, did we do these? You guys are understanding of these? Pushes, yes. And then single whip, cloud hands, snake creeps down. No, there, okay, 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 great. Well, that's what we'll do today. This is one of my favorite, I don't have favorite moves, but this is a pretty cool move. So let's review the form to that point, of course, and if you have questions, let me know, and then we'll continue. So starting at the 3rd set, relax, feet shoulder width, hands down. Now, pick up the tiger, feel the weight of the tiger. Remember when we were pushing forward earlier, you're using this part of the hand, that's where the strength is to hold upward. So you have to focus on this part of the hand here. And then the lower body turns and the upper body follows. Now, single whip on the diagonal line. Face the direction there. Look to the right Drop the right hand, the weight to the right foot. Block a kick. Turn to face that direction, block a punch with your left hand. Reach in, spear position 1, back. Reach in, spear position 2, back. Reach in, spear position 3. Now you're going straight to the sideways direction. You're going to turn your feet to be diagonal and push out, right hand on top, elbows coming to the outside. Then you're going to drop back to your left, turn, and push away, catching a sparrow by the tail. Single whip to the diagonal. And now, again, going to the direction on your right, turn to face it, bring your right hand up, right foot across, and push down with your right. Step forward with your left foot and push out. Now, right foot shifts behind, turn 180 degrees, end up with the right hand on top. Turn 45 degrees to your left, push down, left hand ends up on top. Right foot comes behind again, turn 225 degrees, and end up right hand on top again. From here, step out with the left foot to the side, one hand down, one hand up, double block. Bring the hands over the right knee, grab the thermos, to the left knee, back to the right knee with the right, back to the left knee with the right foot, and then hip at the back of the wrist once, twice, bring the right knee up, rear back, and push forward and up. Okay, so like this. Then, single whip to the corner. And then left foot comes back to right, block a kick with the left hand, and then cloud hands. 1. 2. 3. And then the third one, just like the second set, you exit cloud hands into single whip to the side. Okay, so that's as far as we've gone there.
We didn't go quite that far.
Oh.
We just were doing the changes of directions, and then we stopped there. We didn't do the.
You didn't do this?
No.
Okay. Everybody feels comfortable with that? Bruno, you're good there?
Yeah, I think we actually just stopped after the 225-degree turn. I think
Yeah.
stopped right before the next form.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So that yeah, to me it's fine. I mean, you guys are doing amazing. You're just the fact that you're in the third set at this point is amazing. But yeah, that the other class is the one where I've gone a little ahead now. That's what it is. Okay. Before we do that, okay, so we do the last 225-degree turn. Yeah, we'll start from there. So I'm here. I'm facing the direction to the right relative to the direction I started in. And what I'm going to do now is I'll face the camera. Is I'm here, my right foot is forward, my left foot's going to step out to the sideways direction, and I'm going to go to you should see my feet, yes. We're going to go from here to a stance like this. This is like our stretch, right? Actually, it is our stretch. So when I do that, my hands are here, my right hand's going to push down, and my left hand's going to come up, and I'm going to step out to that posture here. Now, the only detail I'll focus on too much for right now is that when you do this movement here, if you have a habit of bringing your hands down like this, where your fingers are low and you're blocking like a kick, you'll break your fingers. You have to think about the idea of the palm heel, the bottom of the hand, is what's doing the circle and the block, okay? So that means you don't do this. I've actually seen somebody break 3 of their fingers blocking a kick like this. Don't do that. So you go like this. And the other hand comes up here. You get that double positioning with the two hands, okay? So again, if I was facing this way, I'm here, right hand down, left foot steps out, double blocking posture. Okay? So when I was there, my weight's on my left foot. I'm going to bring my hands over to my left foot and hold the thermos or hold the ball, whatever you want to think of it as. And then I'm going to sway over to my right. So I went from left to right, and then I bring my right foot back with my hands to my left. Okay, so I'll do it again facing this way. Stepping out, 1. Form the thermos. Bring the hands to the right, and then back to the left with the right foot. Okay, now, one of my students in the other class just sent me a link to a guy who's doing Yang style Tai Chi like this, but he's offering their family spear techniques, which is a bit rare, and I was pretty impressed with what I could see in the promotional material. And so this is definitely a place where you see the idea of that. I don't have a spear but so much, but if I was here, like when you see a lot of people do forms or katas with weapons, they'll start here, and then they'll step out, something like this, and then they'll move around. And that's what's going on here, especially this posture. This is absolutely meant to be something like this, right? Here, same thing. And then if I had the weapon and I went to here, I'd grab it, and I'd have these kind of strikes this way with it, see? So that's an important part of this posture. So if you go to here, imagine that you're blocking across your whole body between your two hands. So your two hands are connected. You're holding on to something. There's a connection between the two of them. And then you're going to come across and think about a whipping motion with your hands, but that whipping motion is translating out past you. This is the dragon's tail, or the tail of the snake, or the crocodile going back and forth, right? So that's kind of the more elaborate element of the visualization. A more simplified applicational idea, but again, just to help you understand this, if I was here, what I'm thinking, I could be thinking about is if somebody had grabbed me with two hands. Okay, so if they had their hands out like this, they grab it. The right hand is on top, and it's going to come down. The left hand's below, and it's going to go up. So I'm going to be pushing one arm down and one arm up. As I do, I step out like this. So the person gets like this. It works very well. If you want to visualize it, visualize the idea of attacking at the elbows. So I'm pushing down at the elbow here, this, and up underneath the elbow here, because that'll be more powerful in the breaking of their grip. And then I'm here. We can try to sort of play through this a little bit. You guys imagine that you've got your hands up to grab me like this, okay? So you're going to grab the camera, you're going to reach towards it. My right hand comes up on top of your left, and it pushes it down. My right hand comes underneath your whatever. This hand comes up like this, and this goes this way. Okay. Now, this hand is underneath your right hand. My left hand's underneath your right hand. I go over and I grab the hand with two hands here, and then I whip your arm back and forth like this. And what will happen is you'll go here, and you'll go, okay? So it's like that weapon. When I was going back and forth, the arm becomes like that, okay? And you do it by grabbing here and here. Which I can't really show it on myself, but the wrist becomes an anchor point. Anyway, you break the grab, and then you knock the person across 1, 2, okay? That's the essence of the move. From there, so if you go to here again, 1, break the grab, and now hit the person, come across this way, sort of like throwing them this way, and then throw them this way. And what they end up doing is, they've been thrown, is they grab onto your right wrist. So I go 1, 2, my right wrist is grabbed. Now we know from earlier in the form that we can strike with the back of our wrist, right? So block the knife and strike here. But if a person grabs you like this, they can be pretty strong, and you might not get that movement to come up enough. You might get stopped here. So you take your hand and you hit it, and then there's no way that their grip will be strong enough because your two hands stronger than their one hand for sure. So you go here. Now, a person who's really, this is where you're getting into like counters or things that happen if your technique doesn't work in a way. So a person grabs really strongly, and you manage to push them back, but they're strong and they're flexible enough that they don't just let go. They just kind of go with it a little bit. The instinct then is like a wave. I get pushed back, I'm gonna bear down and come forward again. Because I've been pushed back, I don't like that. I wanna be the dominant one, I'm gonna come back in really strongly. And so what happens is you come back, you push them away, and then they push back at you. You allow it, and then you come back at them again. And that means that they go like this, and then they come back forward, and then poof, you hit them again. In that moment, they can't protect themselves because their attention is caught up going forward. Okay? So that's a lot of information, and we're not quite done yet, but let's do it again. So from here, I step out, and then you can take a blocking or sort of wrestling with somebody, and then you get to the point that they grab your wrist, you push them away, they push back at you, and then you push them away again. Okay? So you got 2 of these. Now, if I had been the attacker in that scenario, right? I've been wrestling with this person and I get a grip on their arm, they push me back, I go forward again, and they push me back again. I get in a position like this, where my head is coming back past my ankles. Obviously, very, very vulnerable position. So the full move is you go 1, 2, and then you bring all of your weight forward and you step in underneath their strength and push them up and away. In that moment where they're like this, you're stepping in closer to them, and then you're going to knock them up and away, and there's no way that they can possibly stop it. So it's a whole sequence to get to that point, okay? So from here, double block, wrestle to one side, wrestle to the other side, they grab right arm. You're going to shift in and strike, and then they push back at you. So you allow them to push, and then you shift in and push them back. This time, they're on the back of their heels. You move in close and push them away. Okay? So this is a good chance to introduce another principle that I want to introduce anyways, before we keep going. So actually I want to use this. If I have a weapon of some sort, visualization is easier this way. And I was going to strike with it in a classic kind of downward striking motion. It's a circle, right? This is a circle that comes back to my center. Here, circles out. When it's in this position here, there's a space then that can be occupied. Because I have to give up that space in order to create power. I can't hit very hard just like this. I have to get all of this movement to create the power to strike there. So there's a lot of defensive techniques where what you're doing is, actually I don't need this, is you're seeing that opening the person has, if they're punching like this, it's a big haymaker punch. They've opened up the whole space in front of them here because they have to create power, and that's a place you can enter into. So what this is doing is I'm entering into that space, and then I'm pushing them up and down. So it's a very important principle. The yang attack requires an emptying of the space in front of it, right? A yang attack being like a strike. An emptying of the space in front of it, and in that moment, you can step into that space. So, a lot of information, I know. So from here, I step out, I wrestle side to side, I push the person away, they push back, I accept, and then I push them away again. This time I step into the space and knock them back. And so you can also see that this is built off catching a sparrow by the tail, because it's the same push away and pull back. So remember, it's up and away. It's not straight line out, there's an upwardness to it. And again, if a person is here, when you do that to them, it doesn't matter how strong they are, you're gonna send them flying backwards because there's no resistance there. This reminds me of something else I wanted to mention from the beginning of the class anyways as well. It's not exactly, well, it's related. It's actually related. Okay. One of the fundamental principles in martial arts, so it doesn't matter if it's Tai Chi or karate or whatever, this is just a universal principle, and it's something I want you to start thinking about. Be aware of it. There are 2 fundamental ways of movement in the body. The body can move in terms of how it can strike, let's say specifically. If somebody wants to strike and hit or grab, there's only 2 fundamental types of movement they can do, and that is a linear movement or a circular movement. That's it, if you look at it from that fundamental level. So, beginning of class, I'm going to Tai Chi form. At the beginning of class, I did this on purpose. I went linear, circular. And the reason I wanted to come back to this before we keep going is, in a theoretical sense, which means that it's not always 100% perfect, but it is the default concept. It works the majority of the time. A linear attack should be met with a circular defense. And a circular attack should be met with a linear defense. Okay? So this is very much a linear attack. This is very much a circular. And you see them working together throughout the form. But because it's very complex in the form, I wanted to point that out in terms of the simplicity of just reaching forward or just reaching to the side, because it's just simpler. So if a person punches at me like this is my block, and then I'm wrapping up their arm into a hold. Somebody punches at me like this, a circle, I step in across the circle, and I hit them as they come in on that line. So I'm turning into the circle with a straight line. That's how that stuff relates to each other. I know that's a little bit out of left field because I was doing this other part of the form, but I wanted to put that idea out there, and now I'll try to point it out more when we're doing the form. Say, look, see, this is a circular move, this is a linear move, okay? So if we go to here, we're actually doing two linear movements. This is a linear movement. It's a circular linear, but it's from there to there. That's my main focus, here. And this is here, it's going diagonally up and across. And then I'm gonna do a circle. And then I'm gonna go from here to there as a linear diagonal upward motion. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna push up and away. Again, another more of a linear movement, okay? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so is that making enough sense now? I know I kind of over-explained it, but everybody okay with that? Okay, we can add in one more thing now because you already know it, and then that'll be a lot for today. Is if you, we'll do it again. You go to here, you come out 1, across, across, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you just pushed away, facing this direction on the right, from relative to where you started. Single whip, 45 degrees. And now, just like the second set, we're going to do cloud hand. So from here, just like the second set, come back and cloud hands. 1, 2, 3. And you always exit cloud hands, single whip again, this time to the side. Okay, so that's not too bad, we already know this. So let's do the third set to that point again and try to put that together. I'll come back to this, but this posture has a really interesting history to it, but we'll get there. So, carrying the tiger to the mountain, third set to that point again. Drop back and beat. Now, think about it. Every time there's a kick, a punch, and a reach. A kick, a punch, and a reach. Then again, kick, punch, reach. Riding stance, elbows out. Catch a sparrow by the tail. Single whip to the corner again. And now, step across, push down, push out. Step across, push down, push out. To the corner, push down, push out. Step across, push down, push out. Step out, posture, cross 1, 2, away, away, knee up, weight forward, push. Single whip to the corner. Cloud hands. And then on the third one, exit cloud hands to single. Good. Okay, any questions?
I'm not quite getting the three spear position, the transition between the first, second, and third.
Okay. Okay. So we can look at that. Yeah. That is a very complicated stepping pattern. The thing that might help remember it is the first one is different than the second two. So you have to kind of remember two patterns there in terms of the footwork. So if we focus on my legs here, okay, I'm in single whip position here, right? And my direction is now to my right on the side. The first one, I only drop back to my right foot like this. So my weight comes back and my left toes come up and I walk across this way, like this. See? My right hand clears my stomach, right hand, yeah. Then my left hand clears my face as my right foot comes into my left foot, towards my left foot. Now I'm facing the right direction and I reach in for my first spear position. Does that make sense? Okay, so you got that. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. The hand that's behind me is going to block a kick to my stomach, and I'm also going to pull back as I do that. So I go 1, and then I block to my face with my right hand here, and then I'm taking a step, left foot comes forward, pure spear 2. Does that make sense? Okay, so you just repeat that then. So again, from the beginning go, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now the hand that's behind comes forward, the foot comes back, walk, 1, 2, and right foot forward, 3. Okay? Yes, good, good. Both of those sequences, the spear position and then these pushaways, you can see that the first requirement was to get the feet and the lower body to change direction. Because it starts on the diagonal, and in both cases, I have to turn my body to the side. And one time I just do it by doing like this. The other time I do it by stepping like this. But the same point is being made. And that means you have to get your feet facing the direction of the challenge that you're dealing with, or else it won't work. Okay, so any other questions? Okay.
I do actually, Lucas.
Sure.
So right after the spears, the degrees that we shift into, like the 45 degrees and then in 225, can you just repeat that one more time?
Yeah, of course, of course. So again, we started in single whip position, 45 degrees to the front. My right foot, like my direction is again to the right. So my right foot comes across, steps across my left, my right hand pushes down, I step forward into position 1, left foot in front, here. So this is position 1. Now, from that direction, right foot goes behind. I'll show you my feet better. Right foot goes behind, and then I turn 180 degrees. And I push away, right hand on top now. My next direction is 45 degrees to my left. My right hand pushes down to the corner, my left foot steps into the corner, and I push away. My next direction is the big turn. My right foot goes behind my left, but I turn 225 degrees to end up back where I started from. Okay? Yes, good, cool. So I was actually working on this exact movement a little bit yesterday in my other class. And of course, in my other classes, I have a student who can helps me sometimes because we share our bubbles quote unquote. And you can come and I do some application with them. One of the neat ones about this movement, just to point it out, is that there's a lot of throws you can do with this movement. If you get a person, say, in a position like this, or a position like there's locks here, and you can turn and come across, there's a throw there. So if you, we'll look at it this way. Imagine that somebody reaches with the right hand to grab, okay? And you come up and you get your hand on top of their wrist, and you push down, so the arm is going like this. Your other hand is here underneath, and then you're going sort of into this, right, like this, but you turn, and this hand comes down. What happens is they get thrown that way. And that happens on all of these turns. You can actually do that quite easily. I don't know if that really made enough sense. One day I want to show you guys so many interesting applications you can actually do. I'll let it go with that. But what else was I going to say? There was something else I wanted to mention about this. Oh, that's my train of thought. How much time do we have? Yeah, we're running out of time. Oh, yes, this movement here. That's what I was going to end with. Yes, this is fun. There's a book here I have a copy of called The Bubishi. And this is a translation by Patrick McCarthy, who actually has a connection to my teacher's teacher because he was one of the first people from sort of North America to learn a lot of the advanced martial arts back in the 60s. And anyways, the Bubishi is a book that has no known author. It was informational text that was transmitted from teacher to student in China, in southern China, for hundreds of years. We don't really know where it emerged initially. It was definitely traded in the White Crane Kung Fu systems. It seemed to have tie-in to Hung Gar and some other Chinese style arts, but it also got into karate. But there was also a connection into some of the Tai Chi forms too, the Chen family. So it's this amazing sort of text that seems to have permeated most of the Southern Chinese martial arts, which is most of the martial arts that have relevance to Tai Chi, to Bagua, to karate. And as I said, there's no known author, it's just information. And what would happen is a teacher would show their copy to their student, and their student would copy it down by hand, and that would be how it got transmitted through the generations. So, yeah, it's an interesting book. In that book, they talk about this posture. And they call this posture, monkey steals the peach. And the application they teach for self-defense in that posture is, I'll try to share it. I think it'll make sense, and it'll be more easy to understand a lot of the fancy wrist locks because it's more direct. And it has to do with somebody coming up and doing a bear or this grab from behind where somebody comes up and tries to, it's like a hug, but it's not a very nice one, and they're going to squeeze, maybe throw you down or something, right? So they come up behind you to envelop you this way. And what happens then is you bring one hand up and you push this hand that's coming around you down and this hand that's coming around you up. And this hand that comes back here is the monkey stealing the peach because you go boom and you grab the peach, so to speak. And it's a very effective technique. It works quite well. And it gives you a good sense of what I'm doing here. If somebody had come up from behind and grabbed me, I'd step and I'd hit them. This would be a smack to the groin, of course, right? And then I pull, right? And so there's that literally coming out of the Bubishi, literally coming out of a book that's hundreds of years old at least. So it's right there in the form for you. You can sort of reference that, okay? That was the final thought I wanted to share today. But yeah, so 5 minutes to the hour. That's usually when we end. Anything else? Anybody else have anything else they want to ask? Okay. Thank you for your time. See you next week. Keep working hard.